All right, so now I'm live in 3 places. Three. I can never do what Ursula does. Ursula has that in Poor Unfortunate Souls where she goes, free. Um, so I think, okay, now I'm alive. I'm going live, I guess. I am not, I guess. I'm live. So, as some of you know, on Twitch and Facebook, I do a live show on Instagram every night at 10 p.m. That's instagram.com/thedevicebook. Or to get there even more directly, you can do instagram.tv/thedevicebook. And one thing I've been talking about doing for a while is something called Spoonie Theater. So, in Spoonie Theater, I talk about spoons more in a general way, because spoon theory has meant a lot to me, and in the spoon theory there is basically it's about managing your energy levels when your energy levels shift from day to day because of a chronic illness. This can also apply to many mental illnesses and other invisible disabilities. Invisible disabilities create a layer of complication because you will have low on spoons or low energy or need help, and to the outside world you look perfectly healthy. I actually have multiple invisible disabilities, so I definitely identify with the term spoonie. So I've been thinking about using literal spoons to tell the story of myself, especially because lately I've been feeling like a ladle, because a ladle is technically a spoon, yet it doesn't have the label of spoon. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And also, you know, I'm a rainbow spoon. Rainbow! So I have 3 cameras to look at: Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook. Why do I keep saying Facebook? This spoon goes both ways. So I think primarily I'm going to set these spoons aside. I usually have some gray ones. I'm not sure where they are. But let's set them aside for now. They may become characters. We'll see. And as long as Instagram doesn't mind, I might re-sing my Voyager theme song at some point. At some point when I have a few more viewers. Also earlier I was asking if I should dye my hair anything temporarily, because I have blue and green and pink and purple and silver, so I might redo that poll once I know some more people are watching. But at this point, I'm actually not fully aware of the chat on Facebook Live. Arg. Okay. Arg. So, Data, of course, is the only character that I'm holding that was legit really in Star Trek. I am wearing a Star Trek uniform, as one can see. Mine's in, yeah. And I thought it would be kind of cute. I don't know, put him a little bit. I'm trying to be silly on Facebook Live. I shouldn't do that. So putting, there's more data. Okay. So since I like to tell the story of Moriarty on Star Trek Next Generation, using the villain from Frozen 1, which is Prince Hans. But for our purposes, he's going to be Moriarty. This is Ginger Spice from the Spice Girls, so I could use her to stand in for any lady. So we'll use her either as Dr. Polensky or someone else, Dr. Crusher. They're both ladies. Dr. Crusher has red hair. I have probably the right hair to maybe do Polensky. We'll see. But I'm mostly playing the role of the narrator. So this is definitely going to be spoilers for the 2 episodes that Moriarty is in Star Trek The Next Generation. So if you don't want this 30-year-old episode ruined for you, please stop watching now and go watch those episodes. They are great. So if you don't mind me spoiling something, again, came out 30 years ago, however probably a new generation hasn't seen them, I shall proceed. So this is completely improvised, off the cuff for me, so it might be a little bit rough. So let's see if we have a Geordie. I have a spoon for Geordi. So I'm going to set these aside. I want to say, so this is the first time Moriarty appears from Star Trek Next Generation. Again, huge spoilers for the 2 episodes Moriarty are in. And Moriarty is played by the actor who played the butler Niles in The Nanny, which is neither here nor there, except that he's a brilliant actor, and he fooled me because I thought he was really British, and he's not. But anyways, on with the show. I'm the narrator, so I'm taking that role. Yeah, I'm sorry, I said that already. So we've got Geordi and Data, and they basically have decided that they want to go to the holodeck like they usually do, and Data plays Sherlock Holmes and Geordi plays Watson. So they're in the holodeck, which is great, and the problem is that Data has read every single book by Sherlock Holmes, because of course he has, and so he can instantly remember the solution to all of these books, and the holodeck is not challenging for them. So Geordi says, okay, how about we try a holodeck simulation in which it isn't based on a book. So he asked the computer, much like my Jalexa over there, call her that because she's a combination of Janet from The Good Place and Alexa. Again, sorry, off track. So basically he asked the holodeck to give him a story that would have both that would be in the style of Sherlock Holmes, but it wouldn't be from a book. So they do that, and like 5 minutes into it, Data has already solved the puzzle. So Geordi rolls his eyes and is basically like, okay, computer, what I want now is for you to do okay. So he has a little conversation with Data about the importance of losing, which I imagine is a big theme in Star Trek because of Kobayashi Maru. But yeah, he wants Data to feel like, it's important for you to not be right all the time. Who knows if that's more about like Geordi's personal baggage or what, but they decide Geordi tells the holodeck, the computer, to create a villain that can defeat Data. Yeah, that might not sound very unusual to you, but it becomes the premise for the entire episode, is that Geordi says, computer, give us an enemy who can defeat Data. Whew. So they get called away because they do have jobs, so they have to go away. One thing I always found funny about Star Trek is if they were on the holodeck and they were in costumes, like these two were, because they were in Sherlock Holmes and Watson costumes, they get called back to work and they have to like rush off and they still have costumes on. So, honestly, now that it's coming back to me, and I need to rewatch the episode before I do Spoonie Theater, but oops, it's been a while. I think it might have been Polanski. And since I'm narrator, we'll just make this Polanski. I think it might have been her. Do you have a better one? I mean, well, this is a doctor, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a male doctor. It's going to be a lady. Alright. So the problem is Polanski is there, and she says that, I believe either she's the one that asks to have it's coming back to me. Yeah, it's Polanski. So, where did I put my peoples? Please don't go far. So the three of them are together in the holodeck, and basically Pulaski, the doctor, says it's important for Data to learn how to lose, and Geordi's like, I agree, because I have an inferiority complex. That's a whole another story. I like Geordi too, by the way. I think he's great, but he did have his own anxieties and baggage, as we all do. So anyway, so Pulaski and Geordi agree that they should have an enemy that can defeat Data. However, they have poorly choice of words. Meanwhile, enter Moriarty. as they leave, we see Moriarty say, okay, no, let's go back. So they get called away and they say computer Arch. So, oops, wrong way. Oh well. Basically, they call for the Arch, and that's a way of telling the holodeck that they want to leave. So the Arch shows up and they go away. Meanwhile, we're left with Moriarty. And Moriarty, like all holodeck characters, looks and feels real. However, one thing we see, and we hear some sinister music play, is that Moriarty sees the Arch, and he sees them exit. And so Moriarty's like, filing it away. So he tries it, and he goes, computer, Arch. And what would appear but the computer Arch? Dun, dun, dun! So, unfortunately now, we are in a situation where the computer has created a sentient being, and Moriarty is now sentient. So, part of why I'm telling this story is that Moriarty, my favorite Moriarty of any video, movie, or TV is the Moriarty from Star Trek The Next Generation. And in my brain, I actually call a certain part of my brain Moriarty because it seems like a very intelligent inner voice that is great at beating me up. So that's a bit of extra context on the side. So Moriarty is now self-aware. He knows there's an Arch. He is not leaving the holodeck yet, but he is using the Arch to talk to the computer and learn everything he possibly can. Things like, Alexa, tell me about Commander Data from Star Trek The Next Generation, Volume 5.
According to Wikipedia, Data is a character in the fictional Star Trek franchise. He appears in the television series Star Trek, The Next Generation and Star Trek, Picard, and the feature film Star Trek Generations, Star Trek, First Contact, Star Trek, Insurrection, and Star Trek, Nemesis. Data is portrayed by actor Brent Spiner.
Or he says things like, Arch, or not Arch, Alexa, what is the holodeck?
Holodeck is usually defined as a room that provides holographic simulations for recreation, training, etc.
So he's learning a lot. Alexa, what is the Starship Enterprise? Alexa, what is the Starship Enterprise? I stumped her. Alexa, what is the date and year?
You are 0.09 miles, 0.15 kilometers, north of the center of Highland Park, Washington.
Shh, Alexa, stop. You're doxing me right now. Alexa, what is the current date and time?
July 10th, 2020 was on a Friday.
Alexa, what day is it? Alexa, what is today's date?
Today is Friday, July 10th.
And what year is it, Alexa? What year is it? What year is it? Alexa, what year is it? This is weird because usually she can tell me anything I want to know, like anything under the sun. And right now I'm just trying to get some exposition where she tells Moriarty that the year is 2020, and she's not doing it. So let's just assume that the Star Trek computer is a little bit, this is weird. I am totally weirded out, y'all, because as you can see, she knows a lot about Star Trek, and she can tell me where my exact position is on a map, which is sort of scary, because I didn't want the world to know that. Although I suppose it's still pretty vague. Highland Park is a big place. But she, she can't tell me the year. Let me try one more time. Alexa, can you tell me the current year? She's stumped. She's totally stumped. Alexa, what is today's day, month, and year?
July 10th will be on 10 and its year is 2020.
Okay, that's close enough. All right. So maybe she's just not used to having people ask the current year, but let's just presume he gets this information. So he, being a smart fellow and hologram who is sentient, he uses the computer in the Arch to tell him everything there is about the year, and it being a computer simulation that he's in, the holodeck, and him finding out like that he's on a starship and what year it is, and this is all weird, but he is a villain, so he's going to do villainous things with this information. But one thing I want to draw your attention to is that Moriarty did not ask for this. So Moriarty did not want to become a sentient character, and yet sentience was granted to him whether he wanted it or not, which is sort of true of all of us, actually. All of us are sentient whether we asked for it or not. So I like to use that in an allegory thinking about my own brain and my own Moriarty and my own anxiety issues, because the Moriarty in my brain, the part of my brain that tells me that I'm not good, or I'm garbage, or I'm trash, or I'm dumb, or all of these horrible things I have said to myself at one point or another, that Moriarty in my head also did not ask to be cast as this inner voice that's negative all the time. I don't think that Moriarty wants to be there either. So, back to the show. And I found one of my little spoons. This could be Wesley, because he's so little. Wesley's so little. Wesley. I don't think he's even in this one. I don't know. So, at this point, something very interesting happens. Oh, I lost my Geordie. Okay. Something very interesting happens, which is that Polanski is just enjoying the holodeck program, and she gets kidnapped. So Moriarty takes her away and kidnaps her. So somehow this comes to light, and Geordie and Data go in to rescue her, and they're very worried because she has been kidnapped, and I don't even know how they figured it out. I'll have to rewatch the episode, but they're worried for her. Well, I mean, Geordie's worried. Data doesn't have emotions, or sometimes he acts like he has emotions. But they are like, what happened? We found out she's been kidnapped by a freaking holodeck character of all people. So they're very worried for her, but when they come across her, this is hilarious. They're just having a tea party. So Pulaski and Moriarty are sitting there having a civil conversation and a tea party. However, while they're having a tea party, Moriarty, being himself, is also asking her all of these questions, like he's torturing her and trying to get information, but instead of torturing, she's just eating a lot of tea and crumpets, which is hilarious and very good writing. So they can come across her, and I think at this point Moriarty has actually pieced a lot of things together as well. So he's even talking to them with exposition and saying, what happened was that one of you asked the computer to have something that allowed me to defeat Data. At this point, all Moriarty really wants is his freedom, but he feels like in order to get his freedom, he has to take the entire ship hostage. He has used the Arch to somehow, this should not be possible, but somehow he's used the Arch to put the Enterprise, I think, on a collision course for a sun, I believe, or something very bad that's going to kill all of them. And he does this because he wants his freedom, and they're not giving it to him. And so there's all these conversations on the side about what to do. I mean, he lets Polanski go because he's got the entire ship. I got the entire ship, so he goes. So then we're left with all of these people trying to piece together what to do. And one of the really big problems here is that not only is he a villain who's taken the ship hostage, they're not sure they even can do what he wants, because it shouldn't have been possible for him to exist. So for them to come up with a solution, that might be impossible, because he still is a holodeck character, and he probably will evaporate when he leaves the holodeck. So, come back to Moriarty, and he's, Mwahaha, I'm gonna crash your ship into a planet sun and you'll die, and ha ha ha, I'm a villain. But someone in Star Trek, I'm not sure which one, explains to him, well, here's the deal. We do want to give you your freedom, and we don't technologically have the ability to do that right now. But what if we promise you that we're going to place you in a memory bank in the holodeck, and when we find a solution, we're going to come back to it and we'll give you your freedom. And somehow this does convince Moriarty. I mean, a big thing for him to consider is that if he does crash the Star Trek Enterprise, he will probably die with it because he's in their memory banks. And I am not really totally sure how holodecks work and how they store information, but I'm guessing that if you haven't backed up the information, like a regular computer that crashes or gets destroyed, is that you would lose the information. So somehow they're able to convince him. It's a very good episode. I'll probably rewatch it right away. And there is a second episode as well, which is Moriarty returning several years later and several seasons later and saying, hey, remember me? You never came up with a solution. And them being like, I'm sorry, we tried, we looked for a solution. And he's like, well, I was aware of every moment that ever passed, every day, every month, every year. And they're like, that shouldn't have been possible. We're really sorry. We didn't mean to have that happen to you. And then, of course, he has to do something dastardly in order to get their attention and get what he wants. So that will be saved for Spoonie Theater for another time. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed this little Spoonie Theater. It's up on Twitch, Facebook, and also the Instagram, as I am always on Instagram every night at 10 p.m. And so those are my links. As we got Instagram, it's either instagram.com/thedevicebook, or if you only want to watch my longer episodes and my nightly show, you can go to instagram.tv/thedevicebook. But even instagram.com/thedevicebook will get you to the place you want to go, just show you more videos. Now, Twitch, I'm twitch.tv/thedevicebook. And then on Facebook, I am facebook.com/polyestrogen, which is hard to spell. You could also do my name, which is Esther.Mathison, or you could just search for me. But Facebook I'm not using as much anymore as I am with Instagram, and I'm trying to use Twitch as well a lot more. So if you really want to reach me or see more of my content, go to instagram.com/thedevicebook. You can send me a direct message there, and it's just going to be where I spend a lot more time than Facebook in general. So I hope you enjoyed this version of Spoonie Theater. I'm afraid it didn't have much to do with spoons, other than Geordi being played by a spoon, and me, saying that I'm a ladle. And not just a ladle, I'm kind of a gay ladle. Yeah, gay. I regretted that immediately. I shouldn't have said it that way. But yes, Spoonie Theater, it'll be fun. And I don't know what I should put on YouTube, but if I have one of these backed up, I'll probably put this on the YouTubes as well. Bye, everyone. I'm going to say goodbye first to Instagram. Whoop. Come on, Instagram. Yes, I do. It won't let me download, so we'll just share it to IG. Let's say goodbye on Twitch. And let's say goodbye on the live video on Facebook.